It's 7 o'clock, Monday, December 15th, regular meeting of the Windsor Heights City Council. Roll call.
Here.
Joseph Jones.
Here.
Michael will be absent. Laura Campbell.
Here.
And Teresa Harms.
She might, I think she said she may join us, so we'll see. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You approval of the agenda?
So, second.
Roll call.
Susan Skiris.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
What was so funny? I don't. Public forum. This is the time set aside for comments from the public on topics of city business other than those listed on the agenda. No action may be taken. Please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record and keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes. There is no public here. Anybody online? Okay. Consent agenda.
So moved.
It's very lengthy. Any discussion on any of these things?
Very good use of the consent agenda.
Yes.
We strove to find 3 more items to get us through the alphabet, but it's unsuccessful in my 25th hour request.
Close.
Well, roll call.
Susan Skiris.
Yes.
Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
All right, 5A, discuss 2026 YMCA Colby Park summer camp use.
In 2025, the city entered an agreement with Walnut Creek YMCA for kind of a trial run of a day camp throughout the summer at Colby Park, primarily held outside, kind of rotating around the outdoor spaces, with the CEC being used as an inclement weather space for them. Public Works kind of tallied up how much time was spent coordinating various aspects of that. Things went very smooth. I think we were all pleasantly surprised. And so they've requested to use the park again in 2026 under essentially the same terms. That includes a $10 discount per week for Windsor Heights residents entering kids into that. And then with an increased fee from $1,000 to $2,500 to reflect the amount of staff time that we felt and equipment material used to kind of support the camp operations. So the only other change we might see would be a potential soccer camp that might run for a week or 2 in the outfield of the baseball diamonds. We don't have the final details of that at this point, but that would be potentially reflected in the final agreement or thereafter. Expect to bring a proposed agreement to council January 20th, barring any revisions that council would like to see.
Is the time correct from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.?
Those were the hours they anticipated running last year, and I think they were pretty close to that. It may have been half hour or so off.
I think they only went till 6 p.m. I thought only 6
I thought it
p.m.
was 6 p.m.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It wasn't until 9 p.m. It was, yeah. Yeah,
And where were they when I had kids?
Yeah.
much of this was copied from last year's report. They must have been talking about running it at 9, but you're right. It ended at 6 last year or thereabouts. Started at 6, ended about 6.
Well, let's make sure, so they're not partying all night.
What I recall from when they initially approached us, they said that what Windsor Heights was, or Colby Park was mostly going to be like a drop-off site, that they have field trips almost every day. And it sounds like from parents that I know that kids went there, that wasn't exactly the case. I mean, I'm glad it went well. I'm not opposed to it, but I think us all knowing exactly what to expect is an important part of that. And I think we'd want to make sure the YMCA knows that we anticipate some food vendors, some food trucks being down at the park during the day, and making sure that they've got a plan in place, that they're not running off food trucks that are thinking an ice cream truck, for example, that pays to have the permit and is down at the food truck plaza because it's a busy park, and then suddenly the entire summer camp wants lemonade or wants ice cream. So just making sure that they're aware and have a plan in place.
And I think there were a few small complaints at the beginning on maybe not sharing as maybe as well as they should have, or what other people, residents or thought. There were some.
There's one issue with the picnic table use. That was, I think that was the only complaint at least made it to me. And that was resolved through some additional signage, just indicating to folks that the YMCA was planning to use those picnic tables from a certain time frame to a certain time frame that were on the north side of the CEC. So beyond that, we had some worry that there might be conflicts in the splash pad or the playground area. The agreement lays out utilization of those spaces in certain timeframes. And was it 100% adhered to? No, but they typically were making sure that the entire group wasn't in that playground area at the same time to make sure it didn't feel overwhelmed. But we didn't hear concern that if others did, at least that was kind of our main concern or pain point we thought might happen in 2025. But if residents were concerned about it, we at least didn't hear about it on the staff side.
I heard just a few complaints that, their kids weren't able to get and play as much as maybe they wanted because the Y was there. And I mean, that happens, at any public place that you're going to go to. But, I just wanted to make sure that we, once again, just basically kindly tell them that they need to share nicely or play nicely with everybody.
Adam, have you planted the seed for the increase in fees?
We've discussed the $2,500 fee with them and they're agreeable to it.
And do we also get, because I know that we got the $10 discount, but I think we also had like a week or two open ahead of time before they opened it up to the other residents or
A pre-registration, yeah.
Is that something we can discuss, or did people not even utilize it?
I signed in during that time frame to see how many folks were registering, and I didn't see that there was a lot that had registered during that week or two time frame. We can certainly request it again. Our conversation was essentially the same terms as last year, with the qualifier that the fee would be $2,500, and ensuring that city staff can access the CEC if they're in that space to do any maintenance work that we might need to do. So that would be my expectation, is that they have the same layout or running out of the registration for folks, but I don't believe it was primarily Windsor Heights residents. I know there was some, but I don't think it made up the majority of the day camp.
I think it would be nice just to offer that for our residents ahead of time and kind of put that olive branch out there.
And maybe get an understanding about whether or not, as Lauren said, whether or not this is just are they just using the park, or, I mean.
They definitely did have some day trips, and I would note there's other camps that also seem to rotate around parks in the metro. And particularly early in the year, we saw some of these buses come in, and on those days, the park was extra full if the weather was nice. But they definitely did do some trips, but I would agree the majority of the time they were in the park. Andy, you were down there more frequently than I was. I don't know if you can provide any comment on percentage of the time that some portion of the YMCA was at the Colby Park as opposed to elsewhere.
Yeah, this is Andy here. I think generally what you guys have kind of discussed, a learning curve with kind of the pilot program last year. To Adam's point, that they did do some day camps away from the park, but they did do a good job of shuffling around the park, using different amenities and facilities, whether it was a splash pad, and they only used or were permitted to use those on certain days at certain times. So I will say and note that whatever requests we had from a staff level, sorry about the children in the background. They were accommodating to any requests that we had from a staff level, or if there was park maintenance, or if there was issues that were brought up. I know picnic tables, community center access was another one, but very accommodating to the needs we have from a staff level.
So you're going to bring this back when?
We'll have agreement for consideration to council on January 20th, generally reflecting the same terms with a little bit of preliminary conversation on the points brought up this evening.
Okay. Anything else, council?
No.
Okay. 5B, consideration of resolution number 2025-93, a resolution approving the MOU with the cities of Urbandale, Waukee, and Windsor Heights for fire and EMS consulting.
So moved.
Second.
AJ or Chief Meese?
I'll give a little background and then Chief Meese will talk a little bit more about the study. In 24-25, the city undertook a space use analysis that looked at the space needs of each department in the city, as well as maintenance needs for each of the public facilities. As that analysis progressed, the Finance Committee began discussing the scope of the prospective renovations of the public safety building in particular. And staff was asked to visit with the adjoining municipalities and Westcom parties to explore how kind of the incremental integration between these cities has occurred since Windsor Heights joined Westcom in 2021. We've seen this collaboration take hold in closest unit response in particular. And so the geography in which fire and EMS is responding to calls has widened, and the number of calls fire and EMS have responded to has continued to grow over the last 3 to 4 years, particular. With discussions also ongoing about backup apparatus sharing, some new and or renovated public safety facilities throughout Westcom communities, and with the state legislator ordering a study by the state fire marshal about potential consolidation of fire protection services, the timing does look like it's very good to complete an in-depth analysis of the fire EMS collaborations among some key Westcom partners. And so you have before you tonight Urbandale, Clive, Waukee, Windsor Heights proposal. The city administrators and fire EMS chiefs have all met and discussed this collaborative study. Conducted interviews with the Center of Public Safety Management, for which there's consensus that they'd be best positioned to complete this study. And each council is considering participation, with Clive having considered and approved it last Thursday, Waukee this evening, as well as us and Urbandale tomorrow. Our cost to complete the study is estimated to be about $8,000 to $10,000. That'll vary a bit about any scope changes that would occur and travel costs. I think that kind of covers the background leading up to this. Chief, you want to talk about what this will all look at?
Hello, James Meese, Windsor Heights Fire Chief, Mayor, Council, City Administrator Plaguey. Thanks for giving me the opportunity tonight to speak about this. It's something I'm really looking forward to. Anytime that we can explore options to improve our service delivery, plus be respectful with taxpayer money, we want to take those. I'll try not to reiterate. I did want to mention that Clive was not included in action item 5B. I don't know if that matters.
You gave me.
Essentially, the Center for Public Safety Management, in a nutshell, they've done 500 studies similar to this with 450 communities. They've got a great reputation on doing these kinds of reviews. Essentially, what we're looking at is we want to look at any angle of collaboration we can do in respect to service delivery and budgets. They're going to look at multiple items, operational assessment of each locality. So how do we operate out of our facility? Our organizational assessment of each locality. So they're going to look at hierarchy, how we operate, community risk analysis. How are we doing with the community? Are we meeting the needs of the community? They're going to dip into call volumes, response times, respective station locations for every department, and how does that reflect with the community and how fast we get there. They're going to look at our workloads. Essentially, all of our full-time staff do have priorities that some other communities don't, just based off of our size and our ability to have full-time staff. Station and resource distribution analysis. So essentially, that's where we get into potential shared resources such as engines, ambulances, training facilities, things like that. They're also going to look at staffing. what do our staffing numbers look like compared to our communities? And is there any way that we can improve on that between the 4 communities? Current operational guideline review. So they're going to look at our standard operating guidelines and our EMS protocols. Potential for 4 communities to be streamlined. That way, if we show up to help Urbandale, potentially have the same medical director and operating off the same protocols. Pension systems is another thing that's going to get reviewed on that. Urbandale happens to be municipal police and fire, where the other 4 community or other 3 communities are IPERS. So that's a concern on how things could work out as well. I want to make it just so everybody's aware, the study was directed to not look at anything specific. We want a broad perspective, and we're not looking at any one thing in particular. We want options on how all 4 communities can do better. So if you actually looked at the scope of work, it is very directed in a sense that we didn't want it to be, particularly discussing the potential of this study with staff and not getting everybody worried that, you know, one particular thing was getting looked at. With the breakdown of everything else, we decided that instead of having them change the definition of the scope of work, because we already had this, we were going to leave it up to leadership to talk to the staff and let them know what this truly entails and what we're looking at. And that's overall improvement with respect to the budget. Does anybody have any questions? I know that was a very broad overview.
So I guess just in summary, there's a multitude of outcomes that could come out of this study, which could include some sort of consolidation of services or just a continuation of further cooperation. Some decisions could be made by participating communities and where they want to station their resources, including buildings. And then just note, it does look like the resolution title, I missed adding Clive on there. It is referred to elsewhere in the resolution. So if we need to adjust that in there, but.
Just make the amendment at the dais.
And I think it's important to note too, that one of the things we discussed was they're not just going to, when they're here, they're not just going to be speaking with leadership. They're going to be speaking with line and staff and getting input too, which I think is extremely important for a study like this. So.
Do we know how people have voted yet? Was it already?
Clive approved it Thursday.
Yep, Waukees tonight, as well as Windsor Heights, and Urbandale is next week, tomorrow.
And Clive is the fiscal agent in this, so they'll simply invoice each participant and we'll reimburse Clive for our proportional cost, which is 5% of the study.
I think it's a good idea. It's good to look ahead to see what we can do, especially in the times that we're at right now, and try to use the regional approaches as we can, and, you know, see what happens.
Yeah, the state fire marshal's already been directed statewide to look at any opportunities for regionalization. And I know Dan, he has virtually no staff. He's got a big undertaking where we're going to have a consultant between 4 communities. And this could potentially set us up on the front end of, if that gets pushed down through the state and down through the municipalities on having to do something like this, we're already doing it.
We
So
could be the model for the communities across the United States, actually.
yeah, I think it's a great opportunity with the investment that we have our share of this. So
the study is really planned to kick off the first of the year. The intention is we'll do some communication with the news media about what the intentions of this study are. And as we progress through this kind of adjacent to the legislative cycle, hopefully it will help inform them too, because if, and that is a big if the ultimate recommendation and what's acted on individually by each city council or a subsegment of the city councils participating in this is some sort of an effort to consolidate services, it's quite likely that some state legislative action would need to take place to really set this up for the greatest success in the way that it could be structured because of some of the complications between what's allowed for cooperation on these types of services at a state level right now. So there are some specific barriers within Iowa for regionalization of fire services, but it's something that appears to already be on the state's radar to some degree.
Now, when you say the media, will we, let's say that all of us agree to this. Will it be a joint, all four cities come together and with the same media response so that it's not like each city is trying to piecemeal something? At least we can all come together as a joined effort and say, this is what we're doing.
Yes, that's the intent. We've drafted some initial language and we'll have some additional discussions between city administrators and communication staff in the next couple of weeks to kind of set up that initial press release that would be on behalf of all participants.
And it's important to know that I've talked with all of our full-time staff and a number of our part-time staff, just so they understand. We've been able to address any concerns, and overall, they seem pretty excited about the study because we don't know what the study's going to give us. We do think it's going to have some recommendations that are going to be beneficial. So, of course, everybody's nervous for change and something like this, but the staff has taken it really well, and they're looking forward to whatever their part in this is. So, anything further? Thank you for your consideration.
This also had, I think, unanimous support at the Public Safety Committee meeting too, so.
Who made the motion?
I did. Want to amend it to include
Please.
5.
And I'll second that. What was the second one?
Yeah.
It wasn't-
But I was like, chances are good it's me, but I wanted to make sure.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Susan Skiris, Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.
Reports. Got none. Ms. Campbell.
I attended the Bravo meeting where it was announced that we were awarded the grant for our public art projects. Sadly, I couldn't attend the celebration breakfast. Were you able to go?
I was. Yeah.
Fantastic. Was the food good?
Food was great. The zoo was amazing. So it was a good time had by all.
They let you eat near the animals, like.
No, but they discussed that they're making improvement to the lion enclosure that will be directly adjacent and potentially viewable from there in the future. So that'd be kind of a
That's
neat
pretty cool.
addition and an intimidating addition as you dine
'Cause you're supposed
under
to
the
be able to
watchful
go
eye of the
over.
lions.
They're supposed to be able to go over you as you're walking so that you can see them walking over.
Wow. And I know you can hear the lions roar from like up to 2 miles away. So I feel like that should be disclosed in real estate transactions when you buy near the zoo. But I attended DART as the alternate and got to cast our city's vote in favor of the reimagined DART, which did pass. And thank you to Mayor Jones for attending that meeting as well. Windsor Wonderland, thanks to Teresa, volunteers and city staff for making it a great success, especially Public Works, who went from Windsor Wonderland to plowing a winter wonderland. Thanks to the fire department for driving around Santa. Sorry that I missed this year. I had a fun photography gig Sunday morning, but I think you made the right call in having them in the truck versus in the fire truck, given how the condition of the roads. I bet. That's all for me.
Nothing for me.
Nothing really for me, other than thanks to Teresa and everybody for the fun Windsor Wonderland. I was there with you in spirit as I laid on the beach, thinking about all the snow you were getting. Not that I'm rubbing it in or anything.
Did?
I did see pictures though, and everybody looked to have smiles on their faces and it looked to be really busy. And I heard great things about how well attended and how well organized. And it was great to see all the city staff there. So that was good to hear that, all the residents appreciated meeting some staff that they probably hadn't ever met before. So have Wednesday, I have the Metro Waste meeting, and then Thursday, United Way breakfast, if I'm still here. And then the rest of it, I haven't gotten past Friday. So that's the end.
I stayed late with Therese past, so we clean up for Windsor Wonderland so I could just take pictures and put it on the gram. That's what I did.
You took a really good picture. I saw that and I was like, I'm almost jealous I wasn't there. And then I
And
remembered
Lauren
I-
took credit for it, so it's okay. It's okay, Lauren.
You gave credit.
I know.
I think a lot of things about me, but photo stealer is not one of them.
I know. Thank you for giving me credit. I learned all my skills from you. I want that to be on the record. Is there a motion to adjourn? Oh, wait, hold on. Is there anything on this vacant property report you want to point out?
Just a couple quick notes. 73rd Street is now open. Yay. 70th is now closed.
Oh.
Boo. And yes, enclosed, Nate put together a vacant property report here for the end of the year. This was a registration program the city passed and the staff has been working on for the last 12, 14 months here. Just note that there's been some substantial progress on a number of these properties, still some work to be done. But several of them are in a state of currently being cleaned up or have been cleaned up to some extent. So we will continue our efforts on that, but the constant communication with the property owners does seem to be helping to some degree.
Thanks to Nate for taking that on, because I'm sure it's a thankless job that he probably doesn't hear. Thank you. You're appreciated very often from them. So appreciate his efforts in making this go well and kind of changing how the city looks a bit.
That's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Susan Skiris, Joseph Jones.
Yes.
Lauren Campbell.
Yes.